Good morning, everybody. I have my morning chores done, and I was playing around on the internet a little bit, and I saw this information, which I thought was brilliant, and it's how to make your own green superfood that you can add to things like smoothies or soup. You can even buy capsules if you want to put them in a capsule. And that would be perfect because I can use it for me and my animals as a free, super nutritious, way to, boost up my vitamins and minerals and things like that. So I was out here earlier. We had a wood stove delivered, and I met the guy out at the street, and I identified a couple of plants out here, and I will show you what they are. The first one, I'm going to put you in a shadow a little bit here. Let me see if I can get you a good view here. My cat wants to get involved here. This little guy right here is known as dead nettle or henbit, I believe. And it's very nutritious. I'll go through some of the information on it later. But I did identify this one properly. It has a square stem, very much like mint. It has the little purple flowers, and it comes up in early spring. So I'm going to just pick a couple of these because I'm going to dehydrate what I get. Unfortunately, this bed has bishop's weed in it. I'm going to mark this so I kind of know where it's at later. Because the bishop's weed, I have fought it for 5 years. I cannot get rid of it. And, I'm starting to dig all of my other plants out of this. This, I believe, is violet. I don't have any flowers yet, but I'm pretty sure that's a violet. So I do see a flower. It is a violet. So I could take some of did I have a good view for you? Louie, my cat's trying to pet the camera. There is a flower coming up down there. It's a white violet. So I'm going to pick some of these leaves. I'm going to leave it lots of leaves so I'll get lots of nutrition here. But I'm going to pick a few because, violets they will go crazy. And these leaves will get much bigger as they grow. So there you go. I just found a violet. Of course, you have your dandelion greens. I don't have to show you what those look like. Those are going to be on my list to pick. But I just wanted to see what I have in here. See all of this stuff here? This is bishop's weed. It has choked out everything I have tried to grow here. It's pretty upsetting. I think. Now, I have to do some better identification, so I'm going to get my book out. This might be pigweed here. That's highly nutritious, and the stems are edible. But it's a new plant to me, so I need to make a better identification before I do anything. I found some more violet back here. Good for me. Take some more of those leaves. And like I said, we'll talk about some of the nutrition information when I get back in the house. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dehydrate these. I'm going to powder them, and I could add it to smoothies or soup. Soup would be good. This is dock here. The root is very edible. Not so sure about the leaves, so I'm going to leave it alone. We have a lot of dock here. It's crazy. I wish bishop's weed was edible because I'm telling you, I could feast on this stuff. But unfortunate for me, I don't believe it's edible. And I don't want to try it, to be honest, without knowing for sure. I did see another dead nettle here somewhere. I wish I know most people hate them, but I wish I could find some stinging nettles, a root, or some seeds, because that is highly, highly nutritious. I have some thistle coming up I need to check on. I believe I have to look this up. This is either dock or sorrel. So I need to identify that one a little better before I pick it. I'm not really great with my identification, so I need to bring my book out. I saw another dead nettle here somewhere, and I don't remember exactly where it was. So that's why I'm taking my time, seeing what else I see come up here. Because, this bed will soon be overloaded with things that I don't want. Little grape hyacinth coming up, early spring flower. Like I said, I keep digging things out of here. Man, where did that other nettle go? I knew I should have marked it. I thought I would remember it. Well, I'm going to look for that other nettle, and I'm going to pick some dandelion greens, and if I find anything else that I can identify 100%, I'll bring you back before I go in the house, and we'll talk about them. So I'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, I was outside maybe a half hour. I wanted to, take my time and look around. I'll show you what I found. One of the things I found, I have a lot of raspberries that are coming up in the wrong spots. Raspberry, you can use the leaves to make a really nice tea. So I think I'm going to collect those up today for some tea. These are just ones I pulled out or picked off because they're growing where I definitely don't want them. My other ones, the leaves are not quite large, so I'm going to leave them alone, and I pick those when they get a little bit bigger. So I guess I grabbed a lot more than I thought I did. Okay, raspberry. Raspberry leaves, blackberry leaves, they're very edible. They make a great tea. They'll work good in my greens here. And let's see if they are in my... I use a book. This is one that I use. It's called Wild Edibles. There's many books out there. If you're going to eat something, make sure you can properly identify it. Don't pick anything that you don't know, because they may have a poisonous look-alike, and you definitely don't want to, be eating something that you don't want. So I don't know if I have PQR raspberry. Let's see if it... Raspberry. Okay. Nutrient data for raspberry. This is per 1 cup has 1.48 grams of protein. It has 14.69 grams of carbohydrate. So you get a little bit of, the energy boost there. There's quite a bit of fiber, calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium. Very, very low in sodium. It has zinc. You get a lot of your vitamins in here. Vitamin C is very high. Folate, vitamin A, vitamin K. And there are no poisonous lookalikes. You've got the brambles. You know what those look like. So you should be able to properly identify raspberry. Now, one of the other things that I picked today that I can easily identify only because I put them there is hosta. That is not in my book, but I have identified that. I have to be careful to identify it properly because I have a lot of, oh darn, what are they called? They have the little bells on them. Lily of the Valley. And when they're small, they look like lily of the valley. Lily of the valley is poisonous, but hosta. This is going to be my lunch today. I only take a few off my plant. I always leave more than what I take. So these are hosta shoots. They are identified by the tight, they're tight inside versus my lily of the valley. They're much narrower. They're much longer by now, and they're starting to leaf out, so I don't have to worry about those. And I found 2, I only picked 2 out of the 5 little bitty fiddlehead ferns. That's going to go with my hosta for my lunch today. So that is more like a vegetable. That's not going in my super greens. Lots and lots of dandelion leaves. Lots. Those are just about anybody can identify. Now let me show you why I like dandelion. Let me pull out the book here. Find what page it's on. There's a lot of nutrition in dandelion. If you don't like the taste, then go ahead and powder it. Put it into your food. Dandelion. Nutrient information. Now, 1 cup has 1.48 grams of protein, a little bit of carbohydrates, 5 grams of carbohydrates, 1.9 grams of fiber. It's high in calcium, has a little bit of iron. It has magnesium, phosphorus, lots of potassium. If you're on a blood thinner, make sure you check with your doctor before you can eat it. It has vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K, again, with the blood thinners, a little bit of your fatty acids. There are no deadly lookalikes, poisonous lookalikes, but there is one that is very similar, and that is catweed. Looks very much like a dandelion. It's also edible, so you don't have to worry about it. So dandelion is very, very nutritious. It's one of the first things that come up in the spring. Anybody can identify it. It's quite easy to identify. I showed you my dead nettle. I got to dig them out here. Those were the first ones I dug up here, and didn't have a whole lot of them. Okay, to identify dead nettle, first of all, it has a square stem, which makes it part of the mint family. If you look really close, sometimes there's little hairy things on here. Dead nettle is easy to identify. It's got a purplish rim on the leaves, and it has these tiny little purple flowers, and it's a very early spring flower or plant that comes up. Now, I identified mine out in the yard, and because of where they're at, I'm actually going to move a couple of these plants to an area that I can continue to harvest from them. I definitely identified the violet leaves because I saw the flower there. Also high in many vitamins and iron. Now, the one I am not sure 100%. I believe this is pigweed, also known as green amaranth, but you have to be extremely careful to 100% know this plant. It should have little hairs along the stem, which I don't see. So this is making me a little suspicious here because it does have a poisonous look-alike, which is the nightshade family. You eat nightshade family, you have to, you could die. You could get very, very sick from it. So I cannot identify this yet. I want to wait until I could see the flower better and it gets a nice seed stem. So this I'm definitely not going to eat. I'm not going to dry it. I'm not going to mess with it because I'm not taking any chances. I have a lot of wild nightshade around here, so I'm not going to take the risk. So anyway, I think I did pretty darn good for a few minutes time. I got dandelion. I got the dead nettle, raspberry leaves, hosta, little fiddlehead ferns, some violet, and I'm going to start I'm going to obviously wash these extremely well. I'm going to pick through anything that, maybe has bird poop on it or something and get rid of it because I even don't want it after I wash it. So I will, then these will go in the dehydrator, and I'm going to dehydrate them down and powder them into a green superfood for myself. I'm going to continue this throughout the year. I'm going to continue to add a lot of variety to it. I'll add, as I go along, and I'll show you later what I decide to find in my yard. Have a wonderful day, everybody.